Have you guys noticed sand going back to the pool, or maybe sand at the end of the backwash line? My name is Mark. I'm with Hallmark Pool Supplies, and in this video I'm going to show you the cause and how we go about fixing this problem. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the first thing we want to do is we want to confirm that we do have sand going back into the pool. If we have sand at the return at the bottom and it's piling up and we can physically go down and grab it and put it in our hand and we know that it's sand, or we see it at the backwash line, then we know that it's sand. If you go out to a pool and you see what looks like sand all over the pool, that's more than likely dead algae. It is a very common mistake, and people do jump the gun and think that, oh, I'm losing sand, when in fact they're not. But let's just say you go out and you do see sand and you can put it in your hand and yes, it is sand, then we know that we have a problem inside the tank. And so the cause of this is going to be in the lateral assemblies. And for this video, I'm using the Hayward Top Mount Pro Series filter. And so in the system itself, we have the lateral assembly and we have the laterals. And this is what is helping filter out the water as it's traveling through the sand. And these laterals in here, if they get broke or cracked, then sand can go through here and it will end up going back into the pool. Or if you're backwashing, it can actually go out the backwash line and you'll see sand there as well. So what we've got to do is we've got to be able to get to this to inspect it. So how do we do that? So before we go any further, if you guys want to hit the like and subscribe button for future content, it does help out the channel and I do appreciate it. And any of you guys that want to support the channel by hitting the thanks button, I also appreciate that. All donations do go towards video production of this channel, allowing me or helping me make videos for you guys. So the first thing we want to do is we want to remove the sand out of the tank. And removing the sand is almost like changing sand. And I do have a video that I made on this exact filter system on how to change sand. It shows in great detail how we take all this apart, how we remove the sand, and then that way we can get all that done so that we have access to get to our lateral assembly. Once we get to this point, we're going to be able to remove that lateral assembly. So if any of you guys want to check out that video on how to change sand, I did post a link down below so you guys can check that out. But now that we've got all the sand out and we've got the top off, keeping in mind that the top is only so big as far as the opening. So what we do is we can take these laterals and they actually will fold up, just like so. And by doing this, it's going to allow us to grab the lateral assembly and pull it out through the top. And we have the lateral assemblies here. Now you'll notice there's different sizes because there's different size tanks. So it depends on the size tank that you have will determine which lateral assembly you have. So for an example, once these are all folded up, we're going to be able to remove this out. And then what we want to do is we want to fold these down as such all the way around. And there's 10 of them. And now we can inspect. And we want to inspect and make sure that nothing's cracked or broke. We want to make sure that all the little slits are good. If there's any slits that are missing, if there's any holes, we want to inspect it all the way around. And we want to inspect the pipe and make sure that the pipe doesn't have a hole or that there's no cracks. Because if there's any damage on this, it's going to allow sand to go through and go back to your pool. So basically we're checking everything, and let's just say for an example we do find 2 or 3 of these laterals that are damaged. We can actually remove these screws, and there's a few going around. This will separate, allowing us to take this out and allowing us to put in the new style ball lateral that will snap in, and then we can tighten the screws down, and that will allow us to pivot and go back up. Now for those of you that have an older Hayward filter, it's basically the same principle, however it doesn't fold up. So if you have the old style, as you can see here, this is threaded. So when we have the old style, we have to literally unscrew every one of these to take this out. So Hayward has modified that, so this makes it a lot simpler. So we can just fold it, take it out, and then put it back in. So if you have the old style, they do not make this lateral assembly with the old style. However, they do sell the laterals, And the laterals come in a 10-pack if it's new style or old style. So in a lot of cases, if people are working with the old style and they decide to replace the whole entire assembly, it will be done in the new style and it will go in the old tank. In a lot of cases, even with the new style, if there's a few laterals that are broke, they are sold in a 10-pack. So this way you've got enough laterals to replace all of them. And because of the cost difference, or maybe the aggravation of having to take everything apart, a lot of people will just buy the whole entire assembly. They can actually lift this up, drop it in, and then they're done. Just makes it a whole lot simpler. It is very important, once this is put in, that these laterals are put back down. You cannot forget and leave them up. They do need to go down so that they function properly, and that is very important. So as I mentioned before, there are different sizes depending on the tank that you have. And if you look at the side of your tank, you're going to be able to see, if you do have a Pro Series top mount tank, you're going to see either 166, 180, 210, 220, 244, and so on. So it is very important that if you know the label or the size of your tank, that you get the correct lateral assembly, because if you get the wrong one, it's not going to fit. If you're not sure, and let's say your label plate is completely worn and you can't read it, well, you can get a tape measure and you can measure from here to here or from here to here, and this will automatically let us know what size tank you have. So if you guys have any questions, you can definitely comment down below or contact me. I will be glad to help. But like I said, I will post all the parts as far as all the different lateral assemblies for the different size filters, to include the lateral assemblies for the old style as well as the new style. For those of you that want to check that out, I will have that made available. So now that we've got the laterals or the lateral assembly replaced in your filter, we've got to put it back in the tank. So when we go to put it back in the tank, we take the lateral assembly and we put this back in, and once we get it in the tank, like I said before, we've got to make sure that we do open these up all the way around so that you guys have something like this. This is very important that they are put back down. And when we go to put sand back in, like I said, this is almost like changing sand. So we're going to be putting new sand back in the filter. That's what I recommend. You're going to need more sand anyway, because if you did have a break, you're going to notice when you do open up the tank, sand should be about right here. You're going to notice that the sand is down, and if we do see that, you obviously know you did have a problem. So we're going to have to refresh that, and I would just put new sand in. Once we put this in, we want to make sure we do not put sand inside the pipe. We want to cover that and put a cup or something over it. That way sand does not go inside, because that will go back into the pool. And at this point in time, as we put this in, when we set our multiport down, here's what we have. We have the multiport here, and this pipe actually slides in and sets just like this. So when you guys take this apart, you may have already noticed as you're taking and lifting this off, it may be stuck and it's lifting the whole thing. It's actually supposed to slide right off. But a lot of times, because the sand and so forth gets in there, it gets kind of gritty and gets kind of stiff, that it kind of sticks together and it doesn't want to come off as easy as this. So what I like to do is I like to make sure that when we have the lateral assembly, that this lateral assembly is nice and clean. I like to take Jack's lube, and I like to put some on my finger, and I like to lube this really good. We can also go in here and put Jack's lube and lubricate this really good. And so by doing so, it allows the lateral assembly to slide into the multiport very nicely. And down the road, if we have to take the lateral assembly or the multiport off, it's less apt to stick and will slide off, making it much easier when you have to go in here and, let's say, change the sand at a later date. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. Definitely comment down below if you have any questions. You can feel free to contact me. I will be glad to help. Like I said before, I will post links down below on all of these parts and so forth that I have, so that will help you guys out if you need something. Remember us at Hallmark Pool Supplies for all your pool needs. My name is Mark. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see y'all on the next video.